Hi, this is Olivia.
And this is Robyn, and you're listening to K-Pop Hot Sheet. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and YouTube at K-Pop Hot Sheet and rate us on Apple Music and Spotify if you enjoyed the show. So today we'll take a moment to talk about NewJeans because I can't escape them. And then we'll probably have an emo moment at the end with Girls' Generation who are celebrating their 16th anniversary. Very proud of our girls.
Yes.
But first, there are a few news items to cover off on real quick. The first one, apparently the FTC is probing big K-pop agencies over photo card selling. And I kind of mentioned this during our last episode, in our K-pop Melon Chart mid-year review episode. When we were talking about 17 and how they sell a lot of albums, I was kind of saying, well, maybe it's because people want to get photo cards of their bias and there's so many members and you have to buy, like, albums in bulk, basically, to be able to get the photo card that you want. So apparently Korea's antitrust agency is probing whether this practice violates laws or disrupts the market order in an investigation of the big three, SM, YG, and JYP. So we'll see if anything comes out of that. But I'm just saying, I called it. Maybe the Korean government is listening to K-Pop Hot Sheet.
Maybe they're catching on. I think we said it before too, but I mean, honestly, it's genius marketing tactic.
Oh, for sure.
It brings in the money. You're putting the ownership, right, of like your artist winning, and it's almost gamifying it, right? It's like the more I buy, the more I'm supporting them, the more likely it is that, you know, they're gonna win at one of these weekly shows because of album sales. It's all tied to that. But at the same time, it's like, how true and real is that to like the true artist success versus the artist hype? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel like it's come up before where people, the fans are like, well, I don't really think that it's actually like equally distributed or random in terms of the photo cards that are in the albums.
Oh, interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like a lottery, right? Like let's say you want, I don't know, like Lisas, but they don't put as many Lisas, so you're like out there continuously getting Jennies, you know, like.
Mm-hmm.
That's very.
And
interesting.
as Key being my bias for Shiny, I can say that I don't know that I've ever, not that I buy a ton of Shiny albums, but the one time I did really want Key's mini poster, I had to do a trade with somebody.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God. It's like Pokemon trading cards here.
It kind of it is.
Yeah. But I feel like I can't really relate. I never did that. I'm not really a big album collector in general because I always feel like, you know, what am I going to do with them? And also, as you know, I'm more of a K-drama girl that ended up with K-pop as well, but I feel like I'm not as big of a music fan in that sense. But the one time I did buy an album was for Big Bang, but they actually had individual, like 5 different versions, right? They had TOP version, Taeyang version, G-Dragon, etc. So I bought the TOP version, but that, you know, the case had his face on it. It was like specialized for him, which that I really appreciated. And I knew what I was getting. And I wasn't going to spend all this money having now like 5, 6, 7 different albums that like it's also like wasteful. Like, what am I gonna do with all that after I just like collect these cards?
I mean, that's a very good point. I have a little stack of photo cards that are just sitting near my desk because I'm not gonna put them in an album or display them. Like, I should probably just send them to somebody who wants them.
You should display them. You should like do something creative with them. I'm sure there's something, or like an Etsy store somewhere where they'll take your cards and they'll make them pretty. Like, I think that'd be nice. You have them anyways, right? And it's like you collected them because you love them.
Well, no, I didn't collect them because I love them. Half of them were just like kind of garbage cards that I don't know. Like, a lot of them you get when you go to the shows. You'll get like Brave Girls, they had specific photo cards for that tour in the US.
Girls. Okay,
hey,
I see.
Okay. Oh, they came back, by the way. I know that this is not, I'm going off agenda here, but BB Girls. BB Girls, one more time. Great song. It's probably going to be in my top of the year, so we can.
Oh, I have not heard it, so I'll wait. Oh
my God. Give it to me, baby. Give it to me, baby. I know we said we'd never sing on this, but here I go.
here we are. Safe space. Safe space. I love it.
Oh, so the next news item, we always want to celebrate success of any of these groups. TXT has become the second Korean artist in history to earn a U.S. Gold Album certification from RIAA, the Recording Industry Association of America.
Amazing.
So Gold certification means over 500,000 units sold in the United States. So that was for their latest mini album, The Name Chapter Temptation. I have to admit that the only TXT song that I know and love is Blue Hour. I'm really not that familiar with them. So
I know. I also was telling Robyn earlier, like, I've definitely heard TXT songs. They're definitely, like, on my Spotify, like, songs. But if someone were to put a gun to my head right now to name a TXT song, I mean, I probably could say Blue Hour now because you just said it. But before that, I couldn't name one because, yeah. But not to say that they're not great. Like, I do like them. But I haven't really been on top of it that much, and listening to their songs.
Yeah, same for me. Maybe I need to do a deep dive
Maybe we
sometime.
should now. We should. But also, and I don't want to, like, belittle their success or take this down, but while you were saying, like, oh, the 500,000 units sold, I was like, was it because of the photo cards though?
Hey,
Yeah, but maybe they don't do that. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. But they're the second act, Korean act in history, following BTS, of course. Anytime we do any of these, and I'm like, the second act, the first is usually BTS.
I mean, it was the BTS era, which honestly, and we could probably go through this a little bit later. I'm not gonna go through a crazy loophole, but it's funny because yesterday actually we were out with some friends, and our friends were telling us how, like, they have young, like, nieces or nephews, and how to them right now BTS and Blackpink are old.
Oh,
So
yeah.
so I think it's like the era is coming to an end, and there's gonna be new artists like TXT right now that they're gonna break through these, and there's gonna be a new BTS eventually. We're probably seeing, like, the risings of who those new groups will be. But they did it. They paved the way. They broke records, and that's fucking amazing.
Absolutely, they paved the way. So now TXT also made history by being the first K-pop group ever to headline Lollapalooza, which I knew that there was some stuff going down with K-pop groups and Lollapalooza coming back, which I'm old. We know this. So 90s Lollapalooza I'm very familiar with it. I never went. But it was, alternative music. It was started by Perry Farrell from Porno for Pyros and Jane's Addiction fame, I'm going to say in air quotes, for anybody who's old enough to know who the hell he is.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now, but
yeah,
I'm just going with
it. But that's why I'm surprised that TXT headlined and that I think NewJeans were there. You were saying some other people were there. I know DPR Ian was there.
Yeah, The Rose. Well, I like The Rose. I mean, again, when I say I like, it's not like I'm a huge fan and I know all their songs, but I do enjoy them.
And The Rose makes sense, right? Because they're like a band.
Indie. Yeah, they're indie rock. That's true. But it was NewJeans as well. I don't know if you mentioned them, but NewJeans was there. DPR Ian. And then there was some other like EDM duo. I don't want to Arm & Hammer, Around Ham. I don't know. I don't want to butcher it, but some other EDM duo, which is great. Actually, it was now that you said they were the first K-pop group to headline. I guess it surprised me because I remember J-Hope either headlined it or was there last year or 2 years ago. But like, I guess he was in his solo, so it wasn't a group. So it never hit me that like, oh, a K-pop group hasn't headlined Lollapalooza yet. So that's interesting, but that's where the money's at, yo. That's where they bring in people. That's their bottom line. So if it's going to be a photo card, they're going to do a photo card. If it's got to put K-pop on Lollapalooza, they're going to put K-pop in Lollapalooza, But speaking of NewJeans, your favorite girl group, I know we were joking about this earlier that like, you're going to end up like falling in love with them slowly. Maybe.
I mean, okay, I won't go into it in detail because I will just tell everybody to go back to our second episode about NewJeans and their controversial debut. Is that
Yes.
I have all of my thoughts and feelings about the 14-year-old. Now she's 15, I think, but
Yeah, but as she's
it made
growing
me feel
up,
certain ways.
yeah.
But I did always like the songs. And I will
Yes.
probably love these songs, and I will have a moral and ethical dilemma, and eventually probably be broken down by the system.
But here's the thing I
So,
will say though, right? Like everyone deserves redemption, right? So, and we haven't fully seen these. So let me take a step back. They're back with their sophomore mini album. It's called Get Up. The title track is ETA. But it also features Super Shy, which I know and I like. Super Shy, Super Shy. Cool with You. Their eponymous song New Jeans, Get Up, and ASAP. So it's just 6 tracks, which some of them are pre-released, a few of them are new. But what I'm trying to get at is we have to take a listen, have to see if they're actually living by learning from their past mistakes, right? Of like putting these girls in these like super hypersexualized songs and videos. And if now they've kind of course corrected, right? And doing things that are more apropos to them. Because then I feel like they're learning, they made a mistake, they did what they did, but like let them, because they're big, they're not going away, they're not going anywhere,
no,
and they're only going to
I
get bigger.
can't. I can't escape them. But also, this still goes back to my feeling about the statement that was released. Like, at some point, maybe acknowledge that there was a mistake coming from the higher ups and that they're gonna do all of these wonderful things to course correct and to, you know, do right by these literal children.
Well,
No. Some of them are older,
right.
but
Well, it's funny. It's like we didn't. I guess we didn't get that statement from the higher ups, but their songwriter for this new album, Erica de Cassier, I hope I'm saying her name right. She discussed avoiding mature concepts due to their members' age. So obviously that's a nod to that, right? Like despite them trying to be like in the past, right? Like no, Cookie was all about young girls. It's like, well, obviously if you guys are now actively avoiding those concepts, you know that something was wrong, right? Otherwise, you would continue doing you and being you and like whatever, like
well, and
disregarding that.
I'll just say one last thing about this, and I haven't looked into it super. I haven't done my full investigative reporting on this, but we saw. So the reason this came into our purview to begin with was there was a headline about like the singer, or not the singer, the songwriter for the new Jeans album, trying to stay away from mature concepts, yada yada, and like. When I did a quick little Google, like these headlines are all over the place. They're bringing this woman to the forefront and saying like, look, we had this mature grown adult write for these girls, but she's looking at it from the lens of a teenager that's going to be very, it's going to be appropriately themed. The lyrics will be appropriate for their age. But then when I looked into it just a little bit more, the woman co-wrote a couple of the songs. I mean, there's only 6, so a couple could be more than half of the mini album.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're almost using her as a face and it's like a PR type of play where
Right.
her involvement probably wasn't as deep and intense as they're making it out to be.
Yeah.
And then they're almost giving themselves the fall guy too, if something does come up and we're like, ew, yucky.
You're right. But
Anyway, I'll
let's
stop.
see. Let's see. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen any other articles saying anything like, I mean, there's another controversy, but we'll get to that. But I'm curious, right? Like, what are they talking about in these ones? How are they filming the music video? So let's start with Super Shy because it's the one I like and it's like in my head right now and it's probably going to be in my head for the rest of the week. And then we'll listen to ASAP and ETA because those are kind of their title tracks. So want to take a look at that. and we'll get your thoughts, Robyn.
All right, I'm gonna get my notepad out. I'm gonna take notes.
I love it when you take notes. Okay. Let's listen to Super Shy.
I'm super shy, but wait a minute while I make you mine, make you mine. Darling, and 지금도 you're on my mind all the time. I wanna tell you, but I'm super shy, super shy.
All right, so we just listened to Super Shy. What did you think? Thoughts first? I always go with you first because it's like I know you have your notes.
Well, the only thing that I wrote two TOO all caps, then childlike, that I wrote at the very beginning when it was like riding the bike with the spoke sound things. I don't know what that's called, where you put
Those little thingies, little beads, yes.
Yeah. So riding the bike, it was actual literal children, like playing and stuff. And it just, I was like, oh, okay. And so in the video, there's, I guess the main plot, quote unquote, of the video is that other people are doing like public dance stuff to NewJeans songs and they join them more or less.
I guess.
Or something.
There's no like storyline. They're just dancing and they're just like cheerleaders, which is the interesting thing I realized is that they make sure to, it's obvious they're wearing the safety pants under the skirts, which sometimes, it's like they'll either match the color, or they're kind of like, I feel like they're higher up there. You don't usually see the safety shorts under the skirts, but like, I notice them. They're wearing them. They'll even come lower than the skirt. You know what I mean?
Well, it's because the skirts were pretty short. I feel like the cheerleader outfits were a cop-out in a way of having... Because at one point, they all are in, like, a crop top, and there's midriffs being shown. And I feel like it's the excuse of it being a cheerleader outfit. I feel like the dance is a bit of an excuse when it comes to like, oh, it's kind of like cheer moves, but there's something a little like,
Yeah.
And I was just, you can't even see me because we don't have our cameras on, but like like hump and grind.
Oh, I didn't notice that. 'Cause
I
there's
don't
there's a lot
know.
going on. There's a lot going on. So it's like, I'd have to like go back and like dissect it.
It's
but
aggressively, I don't know, it's a lot. Because you can't escape the dance. I watch a lot of variety shows. And
so you've seen the dance.
I've seen the dance. I haven't really heard the song, but I've definitely seen people doing the dance. And I knew that it must have been a NewJeans thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, the dance must be really catchy and cool and whatever. But that just seemed like chaotic and crazy. And like, I didn't really vibe with it, honestly. I really didn't.
Because that was gonna be my next question. Like, take everything away, right? Like, we just didn't know anything about them. Like, they just debuted with this song. Like, you wouldn't have vibed with it. You would have been like, eh.
Well, no, here's the thing. And it goes back to their other songs, too. Like, I vibe with the song. Watching the video, knowing the one girl is quite young, like, that's what's...
Yeah.
That's my hang-up. I can't get over
And
it.
I will say, I do really enjoy their vocals. Like, when they do the little parts where they go, you don't even know my name, do ya? And I heard I think every girl ends up saying it, because I could notice there was distinct voices in the way they would say it. And I enjoyed that. I really liked that. I'm like, oh, they are good singers. They have good vocals. Like, even that little whispery sound that they have. That was one thing that I really liked. But it's very repetitive too. Like, I really like, it's very catchy in the middle with the Super Shy, but it keeps going and going and going. And I'm like, okay, after like, I could do a minute of this or two, but 3 minutes and 20 seconds of it, I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, it's not really reeling me in that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
So.
it's funny because, like, attention, it was all about, like, I need your attention, I'm trying to get your attention, and now the song was just the opposite of that, but it still seems a little...
But did you catch it that they had attention in the beginning?
Yeah.
So it's like, it was a bit of attention, but now it's like I'm so shy. But I am still trying to get your attention because she's still saying like I want to walk next to you. I want to like, you know, get you to know my name. You don't even know my name, but you're still in that realm.
Yeah, I don't. Whatever.
Anyways,
Let's try the next one.
Let's go to let's go to ASAP. So we'll be right back.
Baby, baby, hurry up, don't say maybe. ASAP, baby, hurry up, don't say maybe.
Okay, I'm gonna start this time if that's
Go
okay.
for it.
So this one was, the video was cool, right? And it's interesting because before I started the video, I saw like the second comment and I was very intrigued because the comment goes, whoever came up with this concept is a genius. I've never seen a blend of woodland, fairy, and horror in a K-pop MV. I didn't really see the horror, but I do like that. It was pretty, it was great. But I felt like, where the heck was this song going? It was just, again, repetitive. I was waiting for like the story. Like, what was the storyline? Because the video didn't really have a storyline. You just have them kind of like fairy of like Alice in Wonderland, like with the, you know, the blonde hair, like follow me, we're going into this whole new world. But the lyrics, I don't know if we're digging, but they were a little suggestive because they're kind of like, hurry up, don't say maybe, don't be lazy, like come with me, just 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not like expanding on it. It's vague enough. And that's why I was like, where is this going? There's no other lyrics that explain what the story is about other than like, oh, I need to talk to you real quick. Just come here. So it's kind of like, I don't know how to feel about it. It's like, oh, I don't know where you're going with this.
My notepad, I hate this, followed by Ophelia shit, because I felt like...
What's that?
Ophelia's character from Hamlet who drowns herself, but it's done. She's the character's in a lot of like art and things, and I felt like the floating around in the white dress with the flowers and the water thing. That's what I wrote Ophelia shit about, because I feel like, and this is just me projecting onto this woman, Minhee Jin. I feel like she was like, oh, people were uncomfortable with my like weird Brooke Shields and like, you know, Natalie Portman from the movie Leon type of references. So let me go to things like fucking Shakespeare or pull from, like you said, Alice in Wonderland, where it's still like young girls in weird situations or who have bad outcomes of things that are happening, but it's more like what am I trying to say? It's like she's trying to elevate the weird shit that she was doing previously by making it more of literature based or ethereal, like I don't know, but the song sucked.
But that's what I'm
hate
saying,
the song.
where it's like exactly, it's like it's vague enough that now you can't 100% tie it back to that. And like you were saying before, they could fall back and be like, oh, but they're just elves in this fairy world, it's all like fake, you know, they're not talking to this guy specifically and it's not sexual. So it's like it blurs the lines. But it's also like, where are you guys going with this? And now it's also, and we have to see the last one too, but seeing Super Shy, seeing their older ones, where they're usually in like those like schoolgirl outfits or like cheerleader outfits, dancing, blah, blah, blah. And then this one's like, okay, now you have this whole different theme going on, but you're not exploring this theme for the whole album. It's like, why even do it? Like, I'd rather see a story. Like, I'd rather see a theme of like, the whole album is this. Maybe your whole concept was elven girls in Alice in Wonderland. And like, let me see that more and where you're going with this. You know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about. Like, there's not...
Yeah. Nothing tying it together other than like, let's do something that's gonna be catchy. That's gonna be on TikTok. There's gonna be the next viral sensation. And that's not just a NewJeans problem. I think that's like where the industry is going in general problem, you know what I mean? The music industry and like America too, not just K-pop.
Yeah, I feel like because K-pop groups, and some of them still do, like they have a very clear vision and concept, or at least they used to.
They used to. I don't know now. That could be another deep dive we could do. We'd have to do like a whole. Let's see where they're at now. Like all the new groups that we don't really listen to, you know? Like, are they following that now or is it changing? And they just do whatever.
They seem to be just doing whatever. But yeah, I hated that song. I never want to hear that song again for the rest of my life. I found it really just grating and annoying as fuck.
Yeah, and the tick-tock, 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 tick-tock. You didn't like that part?
No. Like, it honestly makes me angry.
Oh my god. All right, well, we only have one more to go, so we'll end your torture. But the last one's actually very interesting, so we need to pay a little bit more attention to this one because this is where what's a NewJeans comeback without some controversy, right? So this song, ETA, was shot on iPhone 14 Pro, and it even says it like right away, right? I have the music video keyed up, and it says that. But they also performed this on Inkigayo, and they performed it with iPhones as part of like their whole stage thing, and that got them into a little bit of hot water, which we can go to afterwards. But let's watch the video and see what we think about it, and then discuss a little bit more about this whole controversy.
All right.
What's your ETA? What's your ETA? What's your ETA? What's your ETA? What's your ETA?
All right, so this one finally gave me a story, which I appreciated. Interesting things that I realized, though, is that even though there is a bit of a mature theme again, right? That like there's a boy and he's cheating and he's about to go have sex with this other girl, like they're removed from it because they're just like the witnesses, right? And they're trying to tell their girl to come here because her boyfriend's cheating on her. So they're not like in the situation. They don't have to be with the boy or kissing him or being in those like, there was one time when they were like the guy was on top of the girl. I did like the song. So out of the ones we watched, I enjoyed this one the most. And I liked that it was more like, okay, like kind of girl power, like boys suck, like come break up with this asshole. But what did you think?
So I got a little confused, honestly, reading the lyrics. I mean, obviously it ends with need a boy on my arm. So like, I feel like all the girl power gets thrown out the window at the very end of the song regardless.
That's true. You ain't wrong.
But whose ETA do they need? Because at first I thought it was like, I gotta get to my girl because some shit's going down. Like, what's your ETA for like the girls to get together? But then I got confused.
No, I think they're because they're like Ava, where are you? Right? They called that girl, so they're saying, "What's your ETA?" Like, come here, and then they're with the iPhone. They're like recording this guy, right? And they're like following him. So like that was kind of smart. I mean, obviously it's an iPhone commercial too.
If we take the video out of it and just the lyrics, that's where I was confused because I feel like without the video, if you just read the lyrics, I don't know. I was like, whatever. But then at the end, it was just like, need a boy on my arm, need a boy on my arm, need a boy on my arm. So it's like, oh, okay, well, even if you were doing something earlier in the song that was girl power, you just threw all of that out the window at the very end.
That's true, yeah. But I do feel like they were trying to, again, remove them from that situation and, like, be vague enough that it's not putting them in, like, they're doing something promiscuous and it's not age appropriate. So they definitely skirted away from that. But out of the three songs, I enjoyed this one the most. I don't know about you. If you didn't enjoy either of them.
I mean, I definitely hated the second one, ASAP. Super Shy was okay, I think. I don't know. I don't even remember. I was so distracted by that, like, really ridiculous. Like, the dancing in that, I don't know. I don't get the appeal. I thought the choreo was, like, not awesome.
Yeah.
This song was okay. Whatever.
Yeah, I guess you're not a fan yet, but, We'll wait for a full album. Who knows? Maybe we can get you that.
Why are you trying to convert me? I don't want to be
No,
converted.
I'm just listen. I gotta be devil's advocate. Like you never know, so you gotta keep an open mind, which you are. So
I'm trying
I appreciate
to.
that. You are. I like that. But just to close it up, I think we're talking about the controversy, and this could be hot take, obviously, because there's no decision, or they're not really in hot water yet. But obviously, like I mentioned, the music video was shot with an iPhone 14 Pro. So when they had one of their showcases on Inkigayo on July 30th, they started it like taking selfies, and some of the shots were with iPhone 14 Pro. And, I guess some fans pointed out that behavior could be seen as excessive advertising. So Korea's Communication Standards Commission is looking into it. And they haven't really like posted any official decision yet, but we know that like in general the broadcasting authorities strictly regulate any indirect advertising, so that's why this is such a big deal. And I know you mentioned, Robyn, there was another situation with Blackpink as well, right? Like where they were inadvertently by mistake.
Oh, well, the Blackpink thing was, you know how the groups will take fans' cell phones and take video and stuff, and one of them grabbed an iPhone from the crowd, but Blackpink are, like, promotional models for Samsung and very deeply tied to Samsung, so that became a bit of a hot topic where I think they are much more careful about the type of phones that they grab from the audience now.
Yeah. Well, it's actually interesting. So in this article that I was reading, they actually mentioned Blackpink again being in trouble, but this time was one of their songs. I don't know which song it was, but it was excluded from the charts because it was just to be quote unquote inappropriate. And what made it inappropriate was that Lisa mentions, I don't know if it's pronounced Celine or Celine, but it's a French brand. I don't know if you've heard about it. Right?
Yeah.
You know it. It's like it's like one of those luxury good brands. And she is a global ambassador. And I guess she mentions it, and they didn't allow the song to chart, which is crazy because
interesting.
I think about even in American song, even Beyonce herself, she has a whole song in the Renaissance album which she talks about like Chanel, like Ivy Park, Tiffany, whatever. Like she throws out all these brands that she's probably an ambassador of, and that's why she's throwing them out. But that it's not a big deal. People mention those all the time, but it's so interesting how in Korea they're very like, no, you're not gonna do that.
Well, because they want people to pay for that, I think, more than anything. If Apple like had just paid whatever you pay to be like a paid promotion thing, then there wouldn't have been a story at all.
Gotcha. Well, it's interesting. But I think we've talked enough about NewJeans. How about we go to a different generation?
Yes,
the
let's
best,
go back
the
to
best generation.
our generation.
Yes. So Girls' Generation, which I'm such a bad for not knowing that they had their 16th anniversary video. You told me, and I was like, oh my god, there's a song out, which I haven't heard yet. I saved myself for this.
I haven't heard it either, so I'm excited for us to watch it. Probably get emo, maybe a little teary-eyed. We'll see.
Yeah. All right, let's go listen to Girls' Generation, Lucky Like That. Oh my god, I definitely had goosebumps in certain areas. I just love them. I love them so much.
I realized that I'd heard this song before because it's actually on the Forever One album. So
it's just the
music
video that came out.
Well,
yeah. But it was so nice seeing them. Just like they're just like, I mean, obviously it's a video, so they obviously picked the best parts. But just it feels like genuine, like happiness and love and the smiles and the laughter with each other. You know what I mean? And I think we've talked about this before. It's hard with seeing so many K-pop groups And I mean, they lost a member too, right? But the fact that they're still so close and they still all get together or got together last year to do this.
Yeah.
And still perform. Like, even the Spice Girls that are 5 girls can't even do it anymore. You know what I mean? Like, they don't all want to go back on stage.
Yeah. So the video is mostly like behind the scenes stuff from the Forever One comeback and them recording, like in the recording studio, doing this song and the dance practice stuff. And it was very, very heartwarming, I will say.
Yes. And oh my God, I read a comment that someone goes, they debuted when I was 15. I'm about to turn 32 in a couple weeks, almost half of my life being a Soan. And then I realized that I'm turning 31 soon. So I'm like, oh my God, that means I must have been like 14 when I first kind of got introduced to them and been listening to them. And that's just wild that I was so young, right? I was like a teenager listening to them. And now I'm like, and I'm close to their age too. They're like only a couple years like older than me. So it's just like a little bittersweet. And I wish I could see them perform as well. Like, the only time I've really seen them live was SM Town when they came years ago. Like, must have been like 2014, 2015, somewhere around that time. And I was just like, oh, it's like such a shame that I haven't seen them live. So if they ever do a performance again, even if it's in Korea, can you promise me that you would go with me? We have to go. Because I don't know how much more opportunities we'll have to see them.
Oh my God. Yeah. We make that happen.
We have to make that happen. Like, because I feel like I would cry.
Oh my God, we would totally just be like weeping and sobbing the entire time.
But that was the best. They're the best. I love them.
See, now that was wholesome and fun and nice, and it was classic. Like, that whole Forever One album I felt was very classic. Like, ayo, GG.
But also maybe we're just old too, Robyn. Maybe we just don't get this new generation, which is okay too. That's our perspective coming in. You know what I mean?
I mean, that was also me just still going back to Shiny hard and being like, come on, be yourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Girl Generation,
just...
they're being true to what Girl Generation really, really is.
Which is good. I enjoy that. I appreciate that. They stayed true. They didn't have to. You're right. They didn't pull a Shiny on us and try to do something like the boys or something.
All right.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in today. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and YouTube at K-Pop Hot Sheet and rate us on Apple Music and Spotify if you enjoyed the show. You can also turn on your notifications on Spotify by clicking the bell icon if you want to be notified of new episodes when they're uploaded so you don't miss out on us. Giving you all the latest hot takes and our opinions if you enjoy them.
Which hopefully you do, and hopefully, well, we'll see. We'll see if I ever come around on NewJeans. I don't know.
We got some time. They're still young, so.
Yeah, don't remind me.
All right. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.